Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today is a very special day. It's the disappearance day of Govinda Ghosh. And it's quite a very interesting personality and pastimes that we can share. And we'd like to thank everybody for joining and also seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can get the blessings of this incredible personality. And there's a really special pastime which takes place, and we'll come to that in a little while. Normally we talk about disappearance of devotees as well as appearance, because there's no difference between the two. When a devotee is here, that's fantastic for this world. When he's not here, that's fantastic for the spiritual world, because he's back in the spiritual world with Krishna. So either way, it's cause for celebration. But Govinda Ghosh's disappearance is extraordinary, as we'll see. So this is a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila. Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vindas. Sorry, Sita. No. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Govinda Madhava Vasudev Dina Bhai Yansa Bara Kirtane Nache Chaitanya Nitai. Kamakshi, you'd like to read?
Yes, please. Thank you. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Translation. The three brothers Govinda, Madhava, and Vasudev were the 82nd, 83rd, and 84th branches of the tree. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda used to dance in their kirtan performances. Hare Krishna.
So this is from the Adi Lila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, 10th chapter, 115th verse. Okay, so who is he? In the purport to this verse, Prabhupada explains, the three brothers Govinda, Madhav, and Vasudev Ghosh all belong to a Kayashtha family. Govinda established the Gopinath temple in Gopinath temple in Agradvip, where he resided. Madhav Ghosh, so three brothers, Govinda, Madhav, and Vasudev. And we talked about Vasudev Ghosh a few months ago, and he wrote that beautiful bhajan, which Riyanch sings very, very nicely. So Madhav Ghosh, he was expert in performing kirtan. In fact, all three of them were expert kirtaniers. No one within this world could compete with him. He was known as the singer of Vrindavan and very dear to Nityananda Prabhu. It is said that when the three brothers performed Sankirtan, immediately Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda would dance in ecstasy. According to the Gaura Ganadesha, Dipika, 188, the three brothers were formerly Kalavati, Rashola Lasa, and Tunga, who recited the songs composed by Sri Vishaka Gopi. So they are manjaris in spiritual kingdom. So no wonder they are ecstatic singers, and no wonder Chaitanya and Nityananda would dance. The three brothers were among one of 7 parties that performed kirtan when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attended the Rath Yatra festival at Jagannath Puri. Vakeshwar Pandit was the chief dancer in their party. This is vividly described in Madhya Leela, chapter 13, text number 42 and 43 of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So according to the Gaura Prasada Charitvali, 3 brothers, Vasudev Ghosh, Madhava Ghosh, and Govinda Ghosh, were especially sweet-throated singers. When these 3 would sing, Nityananda Prabhu himself would dance in great ecstasy. Their home was within Sri Hatta, which is quite a famous because there's quite a few devotees who lived there, born there, in a place called either called Burungi Gram. After the passing away of their father, Vasudev, Govinda, and Madhava Ghosh went to live in Navadvip Dham. Now, according to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada, these three are situated in Madhurya Ras and are in a section of those who have accepted Sri Radhika as their ultimate Ashraya Vigraha. So this group of Manjaris, they regard Radharani as their Ishtdev, even to the exclusion of Krishna. And Krishna loves that they're so dedicated to Radharani. He loves that very much. So he really loves these gopis, these Manjaris. Every year they would come to Puri to see Mahaprabhu and perform kirtan during Rath Yatra. Vasudev and Madhav Ghosh were sent with Nityananda to preach in Bengal. So after Rath Yatra was finished and all the devotees went back, Vasudev and Madhav, they were also sent back to Bengal to preach, because that was the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he allowed Govinda Prabhu to stay with him for some time, and he would serve him. So one time, this is the pastime which I wanted to share. When Mahaprabhu set out for Vrindavan from Nilachal with his devotees, Govinda Ghosh was also present. So he was in that party. And then there's a devotee called Achyuta Charan Chaudhuri, who has written in the Sri Hatera Itivrata of a wonderful pastime. So one day, Gauranga, after accepting his noon meal, extended his hand, requesting some haritaki, which is dried fruit, helps in digesting. Also, Gauranga doesn't need haritaki, but he does this to please his devotees. Govinda immediately ran out to bring some from some householders in the village nearby where they were staying. The next day, Mahaprabhu similarly extended his hand after lunch. And Govind Prabhu, again, he then immediately placed in the hand of Mahaprabhu some haritaki. And Gauranga looked at him and inquired, how were you able to bring this so quickly? Because yesterday it took you a long time. So Govind Prabhu replied that he had kept some for Mahaprabhu from yesterday. So now this was not the habit of a Vaishnava, especially in those times. He wouldn't keep anything. He wouldn't save anything. And Prabhupada writes in the commentary as well, how devotee is completely reliant on the Lord, not holding back food for the next day or two or week, like we do in the fridge, just in case. So, because the devotee is completely reliant on the Lord, especially when they're traveling around. So Mahaprabhu said, since you are saving things, you should remain in this village and become a householder. You should worship the Lord here. So this was a kind of a punishment in one sense, or not punishment, but he says accepted Govind Ghosh as a householder as opposed to a brahmachari. Anyway, a few days later, when Govind Ghosh was taking a dip in the Ganga, some floating object touched his back, and it appeared to be some sort of wood, although considerably heavy. That night, he received divine directions in the dream to preserve that piece of wood with care and hand it over to Lord Chaitanya when he arrived there. During the night, Govind Ghosh went to fetch that wood, and he realized actually it was a Krishna Shila. So the next morning, Lord Chaitanya turned up in Govinda's house, and he said, look here, Govinda, You have nothing to worry about anymore. Tomorrow, one sculptor will come here to chisel a deity from the Shila, and you should install that deity. This is amazing. So then this is how this sculptor came, and he made a beautiful deity form, and he's called Gopinath. And here he is. This is the magnificent deity of Gopinath. So very famous deity of Govinda Ghosh. Very nice, beautiful. Very divine pastime behind this deity. Later, at the command of the Lord, Govinda married, and he continued to serve the deity jointly with his wife. As per the order of Mahaprabhu, Govinda began to worship Gopinathji. And after marrying, he had a son who would also assist him in the worship of the deity. But both his wife and later on his son, they both passed away onto the next world. And Govind Prabhu became very sad. Sad because he realized that there was nobody to continue the worship after him. And who would do his pindan? Who would do his pindan? Who would offer oblations to him as a forefather? That's the main purpose of children, to help the parents, the father and mother, get liberated. In a fit of anger, he lay down on his bed. He didn't cook anything that day. Neither he ate anything. Neither did he offer anything to Gopinathji. In the night, Gopinathji came and began to massage Govinda's legs. He then asked him, I don't understand your intelligence. This is Gopinath, right? The deity. One of your sons dies and you decide, what's the point of feeding the other one? Let him also die. Ghosh replied to the deity, I don't know what you're talking about. I only had one son. Gopinath said, am I not also your son? You are feeding me. You're taking care of me just like your son. Now I have become dependent on you. You decide to neglect me altogether. So Gopinath is really having fun with Govind Ghosh. Govind Ghosh retorted, well, anyways, now there's no one to perform my shraddh and the offering of pind to my forefathers. Will you do that? This is a really transcendental exchange between the Lord and his devotee. Gopinath replied, yes, I can do that. Why not? So now will you give me something to eat? Having heard Gopinath's reply, Govinda was very happy, and he got up and prepared an offering. So to this day, the deity dresses in a plain white cloth with a kusha grass ring on his finger. The kusha grass ring is one who does the shraddhs and pindan ceremony. He offers pind on the disappearance day of Govinda Ghosh Thakur. So this is extraordinary. So on today, Gopinath would be doing. They would dress him up and he would be offering this shraddhs or pindan to the forefathers. So what a pastime. This is one of the most incredible pastimes. And it sort of justifies why we celebrate even the passing of a devotee. Because it's so really unusual, we celebrate the passing of a devotee. I understand, yes, that he's gone back to the spiritual world, but then we're going to miss him. But this is the relationship between the Lord and his devotee. There's such an intimate relationship of love between the two. Hence why the disappearance days of the devotee is also celebrated along with his appearance day. And it also shows how we might think, I don't have anybody in this world. I don't have anybody. In many ways, we don't have anybody because we're on our own. We may have children, we may have parents, we may have friends, but actually we don't have anybody because we just like the description is given in the Bhagavatam of in the river, two pieces of wood meet and then they don't meet. They just meet for a few seconds and then they're always away from each other. We're in a similar boat. We're thinking we've got relations with this person, that person, but actually it's a very short time. And really we're on our own, but we're not, because God is with us, especially if we're devoted to him. He'll never abandon us. Even we may not, like Govinda Ghosh was thinking, nobody left for me. Who's going to look after the pin down for the forefathers? Who's going to do my shrad? But actually, if there's nobody, the Lord will do it. And who else better than the Lord? That's why it's such a comforting pastime, this one, for us. Anyway, just going back a little bit in time. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip and the three brothers, Govinda, Madhav and Vasudev Ghosh, they used to sing for the Lord. And then Gauranga decided to leave Navadvip, right? Take sannyas, and never come back again. So when Govinda Ghosh heard this, when everybody heard this, they were shocked. And Govinda Ghosh said, let it not be, for if he leaves, then I die. I will die. And he wrote this fantastic poem. Let's see if we can sing it. Okay.
I think Karuna should sing it.
Oh, yeah, we think so. Karuna should sing it. Karuna, you're on the spot. Are you there?
She is there.
And we can give you a minute. Let me just pause the recording. Okay.
हे रे रे नदिया वासी करो मुख जाओ बाहु पसरिया गौरा चंदे फिराओ तो सबर के आरा करीबे निज करे के जचिया दिव्य प्रेम देखिया कतारे के शैलहिया की शैलहिया परन पुतली नवदी पचरिल जय अरन जय बमुरा गौरंगेरा पश अर्न करी बमुरा कीर्तन विरश कंदये भकत गण भूक विदरिय पशन गोविंद घोष न जय मीर्य.
Yay,
Wow.
Karuna, well, fantastic. You are really extraordinary. This is putting you right on the spot and you did it. Well done. That was fantastic.
Govinda Ghosh Prabhu ki jai.
Hey.
Really good, really good. So, O people of Navadvip, at whom are you staring? Spread your arms to stop Gaura. Make him come back. Who is there now? And who will clasp you to his chest? Who will come and beg you to take love of Krishna? A shaft has pierced my heart. A shaft has pierced my heart. The image of my life has abandoned Navadvip and gone. No longer will we be able to go and sit with Gauranga. No longer will we be able to enjoy Kirtan the way we did. All the devotees are crying, their hearts are bursting, and like a stone, Govinda Ghosh does not go to join them. So this was a phenomenal song. So Agradweep, that's where Gopinath temple is a town about 6 miles south of Katwa. Katwa is where Mahaprabhu actually took sannyas. It is situated on the west side of the Ganga, about 26 miles northwest of Mayapur, in the Bardhan district. Shri Govinda, Shri Madhav, and Vasudev Ghosh lived there. The Samadhi of Govinda Ghosh is located in Agra Dweep, and Govinda Ghosh established the deity of Shri Gopinath on the east bank of the Ganga near Agra Dweep. And this is him dressed in white, Gopinath. This one is white, yeah. So, and on this day he would be dressed in white, and yeah, and he would have this kusha grass ring finger, and he would be offering pind to the forefathers of Gopi.
Prabhuji, how many inches is it?
This one, I'm not sure. We've never been there. It looks maybe, yeah, it looks quite small. Maybe a foot, 12 inches. So, Gopinath ki jai,
Jai.
Govinda Ghosh ki jai.
Jai.
Any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to share? Otherwise, we can go to stop.